In the world of Destiny 2, there are a lot of tasks to take care of, whether you are a new light like myself, or you're an experienced player with over thousands of hours into the game. So in this video, I'm going to go over 3 useful tips for new players coming into Destiny 2 as a quick reminder, and maybe along the way, it might be your refresher as well. All that being said, if you want to see more Destiny 2 content like this on the channel, alongside more sci-fi content down the road, then be sure as always to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get straight into the first tip. So useful tip number 1 is, of course, not to forget your bounties. I myself, I'm still a new player. I've only plugged in about 250 hours thus far. And so this is a reminder to other new players, as a new player, to ensure that don't forget those bounties. They're so imperative because it helps you to progress in the game in terms of your level. And if you want to get to that high level cap of 1800 plus or more, then getting your bounties done will be nice. It also, of course, feeds into your artifact for the season and other things as well. So just be sure that anytime you find yourself jumping into Destiny 2 and you jump into, let's say, a Gambit, or you jump into a Crucible or a Vanguard Ops, just make sure that before you do that, visit your local vendor, grab your bounties, and that way you'll reap the benefits when you're done. So that being said, let's move on to the next point. So as you log into the game and as you progress through the story and just gameplay experience as a whole, you're going to come across your weeklies, and these are glowing dots that you see next to certain playlists and activities. So on screen you'll see that, for example, I'm going into a Trials of Osiris and there's a weekly next to it, which is encouraging because as a new player, this is where you want to be more involved, because you have a soft cap, a powerful cap, and a pinnacle cap. And so on screen, you'll see 1750, 1800, and 1810. So what those numbers represent are your respective levels as you are leveling up in the game. And where you want to be as a new player is you want to get towards that pinnacle cap, which is pretty much end game level. And so why are these weeklies important? They're important just as bounties because they're the things that are going to drop you powerful gear that essentially will help you to progressively improve your builds, but most importantly, progressively level you up to that respectable cap level to where you can then participate in other, let's say, harder material in the game. So on screen again, you'll see that you have a multitude of different weeklies to choose from. And so there are going to be cases where you'll see some powerful gear, and then you're going to have cases where you'll see pinnacle gear. Now, of course, this is going to differ depending on, again, the player and where you are in the game. In my case, I've put in about 250 hours. And so for me, I have both powerful gear and pinnacle gear. But just a reminder again, when you see these on screen, it really is imperative to do them, because every respective gear, for example, powerful gear, it's going to level you up in relation to where your current level is. So let me just give you an example. Let's say that you're at the level 1780. What the game will do is once you've completed your powerful gear weekly, it's going to give you a gear that is essentially 1 or 2 levels above your current level. So if you're 1780, the game's going to give you perhaps a gear that is 1781 or 1782. And then as you progress more and more, there are going to be cases where you might get even 3 levels above. And at the rarest case, maybe higher than that. But the whole point is that you want to continue to do these weeklies because they're going to drop the gear that will essentially level you up towards the pinnacle cap, which is very similar to powerful, where now you're going to see a huge gap in terms of how much you can improve in the game. So it encourages you to just grind the game, have fun, and as you continue to level up and you see your builds get better, do your weeklies. All right, so let's move on. This final tip, I think, will not only speak to the new player masses, but also the veterans as well, because I'm sure that from time to time, we all have that itch to want to spend, and our resources are really, really imperative. So my last tip is to try and be mindful of your resources and spending them wisely. That's because in Destiny 2, everything comes with a cost. Fortunately for us, it's not real money. Of course, if you want to spend in the store, you can, but for the most part, the content in the game is just in-game currency, but that in-game currency becomes more valuable as you level up. So if you're a new light, it's best to save when you can. Not, of course, you can spend whatever you want, but it's best to spend once you get to higher levels. And that's because the weapons you obtain, the equipment you obtain, they're going to be stronger. So let's say if you're at 1790, sure, you can spend, if you'd like to get some extra resource out of your weapons, such as, let's say, getting energy, so you can obtain more mods for your weapons or mods for your equipment. But I would honestly suggest waiting till you get to around 1800, just so that now you can masterwork your weapons more, you can masterwork your equipment, and in doing so, you're going to have a much more robust, stronger build, and your resources will be invested in something that's going to actually carry you into the end game. So before you go off and spend too much trying to masterwork your weapon too early, or masterwork your helmet or whatever armor you have on too quickly, just try and be mindful. Don't go too crazy, but again, try and take things slow. And perhaps this goes into my last and bonus point, which is don't rush this game. Just be patient. This is a game where I feel, just for me personally, is a game where you need to be taking your time. This isn't a game where you jump in and you rush things through, because it will ultimately lead you to burnout, and you don't want that. There's so much to explore and discover in Destiny 2, and so with all those many layers in the game, you really have to consider that the game wants you to probably take a break from time to time, and it's healthy to do so. So don't try to rush. Don't rush the game. Just be patient. Take things at your pace. Don't let metas or anything else try to convey this idea that you have to hurry up and get things done. You don't have to do anything like that. Just really enjoy Destiny 2. That's really where the fun truly happens, when you go at it your way and go at it at your pace, and not let the masses try to push you or sway you in one direction. Enjoy yourself and see where it takes you. And of course, as I mentioned in my previous videos, there are certain things to avoid. You don't want to go too far down into the pits too early, because that will discourage you, and that's pretty much the point I was trying to emphasize in that video. And so I want to emphasize this again, that there's nothing wrong with trying things, but you really want to be mindful and considerate of the fact that there are other players, and if you're not at that level where you can, let's say, participate, it can be discouraging for not only you, but also who you're playing with, especially for solo. All right. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more like this on the channel, from a new light perspective, the new sensei, then be sure, of course, to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you folks on the next one. As always, new warriors, stay strong, keep fighting, and may the force be with you all, always. Peace.